Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. Today's book is Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard. That is your front cover. I did this book in 24 hours. And I have no idea how I managed to do that. It's 230 pages in contemporary crime and thriller. And yeah, I did this in one day. I did it yesterday, and I started it in the morning, went to work, read some of it on my lunch break, finished work at 6:30, came home and sat on the sofa reading till about 11 o'clock at night. I could not put this book down. It was so good. Yeah, this is up there as like one of my favourite books I've read this year, I think. Has to be. I just could not put it down at all. I'll read the blurb to you and then I'll explain how it's all set up. Movie making can be murder. The project. Final draft. A psychological horror being filmed at a house deep in the forest, miles from anywhere in the wintry wilds of West Cork. The lead. Former soap star Adele Rafferty has stepped in to replace the original actress at the very last minute. She can't help but hope that this opportunity will be her big break. And she knows she was lucky to get it, after what happened the last time she was on a set. The problem. Something isn't quite right about Final Draft. When the strange goings-on in the script start to happen on set too, Adele begins to fear that the real horror lies off the page. This was just such a brilliant book. I have no weak things to say about this book. It was just so good. The tagline on the book is "Movie making can be murder." So yeah, it's all done from the point of Adele Rafferty, an Irish actress who is now living in LA. She got her big break when she was a young'un. She accompanied a friend to an audition and ended up being seen for the role herself, and ended up growing up on an Irish soap. When we meet her, she is living in LA and she is keeping a secret regarding what happened the last time she was on a set back in Ireland. And moving to LA is her fresh start. She's hoping that nobody actually knows really who she is and that she can get by in LA unscathed. But she's working at a hotel and hasn't worked properly in a long time. We see her going on auditions for commercials and not doing particularly well. And then out of the blue, while she's working at the hotel, she starts to get missed calls from an Irish number. When she finally picks up the phone, it's somebody offering her a part in a horror film back in Ireland, which is complete hush hush. It's apparently a movie that was originally attached to a studio, and then the director decided to go away from the studio and make it with a skeleton crew, basically like a very small amount of crew members to be able to do the film how he actually wants to do it. Adele realises that because there's an NDA involved, that she can go to Ireland, she can do this film, nobody knows that she has to be there, and then she can fly back to LA and hopefully this will be a big break. It's all happened within the first couple of chapters. From there, she gets, basically in less than 24 hours, she's on a plane to Ireland with a script, an NDA, a contract, realising that she's actually going to be earning more money for this project, like per day, than she ever did on the soap. And she's there going, it's just me, one other actor on screen. A lot of the time it's just supposed to be Adele, it's supposed to just be her character on screen walking around this big house in the middle of nowhere. And obviously because that's where it's set, that's where it's going to be filmed. She gets to set and she starts getting other messages from another Irish number telling her that she needs to get out while she still can. She tells one person, despite the NDA that she hasn't actually signed yet, she tells one person, an old friend back home. Well, technically two people, because she tells her friend and then she also called her old agent to check, because even though it's an infamous director, she just wants to double check that everything's like above board. And her old agent is just there going, yeah, I've heard whisperings about this film that's happening, and if you've offered the role, you know, you've got the thumbs up from me. This is ex-agent, she doesn't have an agent anymore. But yeah, so she tells two people about what's going on with this film and where she's going to be. The thing is though, obviously she's getting weird messages from an Irish number telling her that she needs to get out, that she can't trust anything. At the same time, Adele is just there thinking, oh, can I really trust this number? From the sound of things, there's something weird going on with the previous attempt to bring this film to life with the studio, and maybe there's been some disgruntled employees that are just trying to, like, sabotage the project. That's what's put into her brain, especially in regards to other people who are working on the film. She is the only woman on set. The entire crew are men. And there's a creep who works in wardrobe who she's just there going, I'm going to see him on the TV, I'm going to see him on the news one day. Just to warn anybody out there that there is a slight storyline in regards to somebody being a bit sleazy, basically. So you've got Adele's point of view, but then you're also getting bits of the script of the film that she's going to be working on. And in there, you're also getting the book that the character is reading. The point of the screenplay is the fact that the character in the screenplay is reading a book and realising that things that are happening in the book start to happen to her in real life. In turn, those events are also creeping into Adele's life. So if there's a knock on the door in the book that the character is reading, there's a knock on the door for the main character in the film, and then there's a knock on the door for Adele. It's like a sequence, so you can see it happening and you can see it coming. The thing is though, with certain bits where you're just like looking at like the characters in the screenplay, what they're experiencing in regards to the book that character's reading, this is getting complicated, you're just like, oh, so we know that somehow this is going to end up happening to Adele, but because it's just Adele and the character playing her boyfriend, husband, isn't on set yet, we're trying to work out who the other person is going to be when it hits Adele's life. So yeah, it's very, very clever, it's very twisty, and everything comes to a head when Adele is abandoned on set. Everything has been done as night shoot, so everybody is sleeping throughout the day. She does one night of filming, and then the next day she randomly wakes up at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and she's just there going, we're not supposed to be waking up until like 6-7 p.m. to have our breakfast because it's a night shoot, but she can't get to sleep. That's the point when she actually goes out and reads the script thoroughly, and then she starts experiencing things that correlate with the script, whereas it's a knock on the door or hearing somebody running away, things being moved, that kind of thing. So you've got those extreme parallels happening between the book the character is reading, the character, and Adele. It's everything that happens to them is the same. But slightly differently for Adele because she is the actress. But yeah, so on the second day, she wakes up at 10 a.m. instead of 6 p.m. She reads the script in thorough. Then she manages to get about an extra hour of sleep. And then she wakes up and realises that everybody is gone. She goes into the house, finds out that all the people on the crew are not there, there's nobody about, and things start getting creepy. It feels kind of haunted house-esque a little bit because she's alone in the woods in a creepy house and all these things start happening to her. Another example, so the character is reading a book, there's a power cut in the book, then the character herself experiences a power cut, and then Adele experiences a power cut. So when the power cut happens, and the weather is awful, and it's raining, and it's dark, things just go for Adele. Oh, it's just so good. I'm not going to spoil it at all. I'll just say that there's more to it than you think. A lot of it goes back to the secret she's been hiding in regards to what happened in her final date on a set when she got a job after leaving the soap opera, and things also come back to the friend who she accompanied to that audition in the first place. So it all comes back to the beginning of her career and toes that may have been stepped on and things that she witnessed herself and things that may have been muddled along the way. But yeah, you start to realise there are people out there with grudges against Adele, and Adele has not quite figured that out. And as more things happen and you read more of the script and you're just like, oh my god, this means that something in this scene is going to happen to Adele, and you're trying to figure out who's going to be involved, and oh my god, it was just so good. This would be such an incredible film. It really would. It's so disturbing. It's just so good. I was so addicted to it. As I said, I did all of it in a day. I literally, because I finished work at 6:30 and then I eat my dinner on the sofa, and I usually have my iPad and I like play games and stuff to unwind. No, I was reading the whole time. So from about 7ish onwards till about 11 o'clock at night, I was finishing this book, all 230 pages of it. And I think I'd done about just under 100 pages with reading it in the morning, and then on my lunch break I'd done about 100 pages. So I did the other 130 pages when I got home from work. Oh, it's just so good. I absolutely loved it. The fact that you're looking at the inside of making this film and looking at that behind the scenes stuff, seeing that transformation of Adele as things go on throughout the story, and as she realises her role in not just the film and stuff, but her role on set, and understanding her frame of mind, and finding out actually what happened on that last day of set, which triggered her to move to LA. Oh. And I love the duality of the title, Runtime, because at first glance it seems to be connected to the movie and the idea that, you know, the runtime of a movie, you know, with the length of the movie. But then when you also break it down, I was there thinking runtime as in, no, you girl, you need to run. You need to run away from this situation. There's just so much. It's just so good. It's so clever. And just when you think you're on the right path and you think, oh, I think I might have figured something out, something else comes out that kind of twists it a bit. But as I said, you know, there might be more than one person pissed off with Adele. As I pop that out there. Runtime, Catherine Ryan Howard. Clever title, clever book. Because there are excerpts of the scripts that she is working from in there, I'll admit I'm very used to reading scripts, so I can read them very quickly, which probably added to how quickly I read the book. I absolutely loved it. It was so good. Yeah, this one is at the top for like favourite books. I'm putting it up there with Daisy Darker. I absolutely love Daisy Darker. That's such a good book. After I read it on my phone, I then went and bought it and put it in my wardrobe. So I will be rereading that at some point. I'm getting better at rereading books because I'm not the kind of person who does reread books. I like read them and keep them and collect them. So I'm not kind of a person who buys books just to look at them. I like to read them. I'm just not the biggest on rereading. But there are certain things I do want to reread. Despite the controversy, I do want to reread my Harry Potter books just because they're close to my heart and I just want to read them again. Got Tess Gerritsen books behind me that I want to reread. And one last show of that front cover, Runtime, Catherine Ryan Howard. There is so much of this book. It is so clever. It's so good. It's so dark. I absolutely loved it. So if you like a good mystery, psychological horror style, but the way it's all brought back to the very, very first couple of pages is really impressive. Makes me want to read the beginning of it again. And I can on the preview because I've returned it, but yeah. Such a good book, such a good book, such a good book. I absolutely loved it. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you next time with another video. If you want to talk to me about this book, if you have read it, please talk to me. I need to talk to people about this book. It was so fucking good. Excuse the language, but that's the only way to describe it. It's fucking brilliant. Yeah? So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time with another video. Stay safe, my lovelies. Bye!